In a historic moment for our country, Donald Trump, the first former U.S. president to face criminal charges, was arraigned in a New York courtroom yesterday on 34 felony counts of falsifying business records. He has pled not guilty.
Yeah, that's right. And joining us now is the Assistant Dean of the Yale Jackson School of Global Affairs. We've got Asha Rangappa here, and also right here in studio, ABC's Chief Washington Correspondent, Karl. Thank you both for joining us here.
Great to be here.
Asha, let's go ahead and start with you, because Eva just talked about it, the 34 felony counts that the president has been charged with, President Trump. The Manhattan DA, he actually basically said this. He said that the evidence will show that he lied repeatedly to cover up the crimes related to the 2016 election. You have seen the indictment now. We've all seen it. What do you think? Do you think the DA has a strong case here?
Well, there are some surprising things about what was released yesterday and things that weren't surprising. What's not surprising is we knew this was about falsifying business records, the concealing these repayments to Michael Cohen for paying off Stormy Daniels as legal fees. We also knew that this was tied into a broader scheme of the catch and kill agreement with the National Enquirer to find stories that were detrimental to Trump and burying them. What was surprising is that we didn't really see the precise legal theory that Bragg intends to pursue. We know that it involves generally campaign and election crimes, maybe some tax crimes, but the specific statutes that help to bump these counts up, all 34 counts, to a felony weren't specified, and I think that we still need to wait and see what those are.
Asha, former President Trump last night in a speech, he went after the DA, he went after the judge, he even went after the judge's family. How could those comments affect his case going forward?
Well, the judge in the hearing yesterday admonished both parties that he was not going to tolerate any kind of behavior that impacted his ability to, try this case and manage this case as it proceeds. And these comments are in direct contravention of that. And I think that Trump is going to see that if he continues down this vein, there may be consequences. Now, he has First Amendment rights. The judge is going to have to be very careful to balance those rights against security concerns. But we saw in the Roger Stone case several years ago, a gag order was placed on Roger Stone for posting a photo of the judge in crosshairs. So, I think that he's on shaky ground, and if I were his lawyers, I would be telling him to tone it down.
John, we saw him not toning it down there at that Mar-a-Lago speech last night. We all watched that. What was your big takeaway from that?
Well, first of all, the contrast. When he was in court, he barely said anything. He had to answer a few questions from the judge. Court reporters in the room had to lean forward and strain to hear what he was saying because he spoke so softly. The judge at one point asked him to repeat one of his answers. He said nothing coming in and out of New York. So then he gets down in Florida in the confines of Mar-a-Lago. And I thought it was another campaign speech. I thought it was the relaunch of his 2024 presidential campaign, which is going to be a campaign not so much about the direction of the country, the record of the Trump administration, the record of the Biden administration. It's going to be a campaign of grievance and retribution and revenge.
It was surprising that he was talking so softly in the courtroom, right?
I mean, I've never heard that before. Yeah. I mean, I've been around Trump a long time. To the idea that he would speak so softly that somebody would have to ask him to repeat what he said, never saw that before.
Let's talk about the campaign, because he has already announced that he's running for president. What does this mean for that campaign season and that election?
Well, I think that the campaign is indistinguishable from his campaign against these prosecutors, and it's prosecutors, plural. Obviously, this case, but the potentially far more serious cases brought by the special counsel, January 6th, the documents, obstruction of justice, and of course the Georgia case also about the election. So I think what's fascinating is you look at the political calendar here. The judge, the prosecution asked for a trial in January. Trump's team asked for a trial in the spring. That's the middle of the presidential campaign. I mean, you could have the trial starting when we're doing the New Hampshire primary, or maybe it's Super Tuesday, or if it gets delayed past that, do we have a trial during the Republican convention?
Wow. I mean, and there's so many questions, right? So many questions about what happens next in this, if this moves forward in the way it might. All right. Karl, thank you so much. Asha Rangappa, also thank you for joining us here on GMA3. We appreciate it.
Well, hey there, GMA fans. Robin Roberts here. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Lots of great stuff here. So go on, click the subscribe button right over here to get more of awesome videos and content from GMA every day, anytime. We thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the morning on GMA.